to throw in the end zone, open receiver, touchdown.
Welcome to Big 12 Football Preview. Kristen and Wendell Barnhouse here to preview Week 8 in the Big 12. Now, last weekend's games are going to be hard to top as they were all decided by less than a touchdown. But when you play in a round-robin conference where every team plays each other, anything can happen. Here's a look at our schedule this week. The Big 12 gets underway Saturday morning, so make sure you set your alarm for those 2 early kickoffs that start a full schedule of conference games. We'll start with Baylor, the league's leader and just one of 5 undefeated teams from a power conference. Their record will be tested this weekend when they play on the road against West Virginia. Now, Wendell, how did the Mountaineers capitalize on this opportunity to jump into the Big 12 conversation?
Well, you know, they're coming off a really good win on the road, and actually both these teams are coming off buzzer-beating wins Saturday, and they're going to meet in Morgantown. And the last time they played in Morgantown 2 years ago, the final score 70-63. Now, I don't think the score is going to climb that high this week, but it could come close. These are 2 explosive offenses led by senior quarterbacks. Clint Trickett and Bryce Petty are the top 2 starting QBs in terms of efficiency and are separated by just 0.2 of a point. Baylor's defense is going to have to contend with West Virginia receiver Kevin White. He leads the nation in yardage per game.
Also at 11 a.m. on Saturday, Oklahoma plays host to Kansas State. The Sooners are coming off a tough win over Texas. They were outplayed, but somehow found a way to win. A few more of those, and I might call him Tebow, but that's probably too soon for that. The Wildcats, on the other hand, come off a bye week, which I know Bill Snyder used to analyze the Sooners even closer. Now remember, K-State shut down Auburn's rushing attack just a few weeks ago, and with Oklahoma looking to get their groove back in the run game, this should be a solid matchup.
Yeah, and I think, you know, basically this is a college football playoff elimination game. The loser's going to have 2 losses and is going to be out. Now, K-State coach Bill Snyder, as you mentioned, Kristen, has had 2 weeks to get ready for Oklahoma, and that means the Wildcats are going to have a winning game plan ready. Now, that should scare Sooners fans who have to wonder what's happened to their team's offense. The 232 yards against Texas was the 8th lowest in the Bob Stoops era, and over the last 6 quarters, the offense has generated just 3 touchdowns. Now, a big edge for the Sooners, they hardly ever lose at home.
Moving along at 3 p.m. on Saturday, it's Oklahoma State at TCU. I have a feeling the Horned Frogs will be hurting from that loss to Baylor for quite a while, and TCU now is very much still in the conference title race as well as the playoff race, but they will have to bounce back quick because I don't think those Cowboys are going to give them any slack this weekend.
No, these are 2 teams that are ranked, and both teams have 1 loss. Now, the Frogs can keep themselves in college football playoff contention if they can win the rest of their games. It's going to be interesting to see, as you mentioned, Kristen, how they're going to bounce back after that gut-busting loss at Baylor. Now, the Cowboys have won 5 in a row, but they were far from impressive in getting past Kansas. Kickoff coverage is going to be key for TCU because Oklahoma State's Tyreek the Freak Hill has taken kickoffs to the house in each of the last 2 games. That's a school record.
Let's take a look at that schedule one more time. Kansas plays at Texas Tech, and Iowa State heads to Texas. And all but the Longhorns are still looking for their first conference win.
Well, these last 2 games are desperation games. Kansas came close last week against Oklahoma State, and they have appeared to have found a quarterback in Michael Cummings. Now, Texas Tech has lost 8 consecutive Big 12 games going back to last season. If the Red Raiders want to go bowling, they have to beat the Jayhawks. Bowl eligibility is also going to be on the menu in Austin as a couple of 2 and 4 teams meet up. Iowa State is coming off a solid victory over Toledo, while Texas played perhaps its best all-around game of the season against OU. Now, both these teams are going to need to win 4 of their last 6 to reach the postseason.
That's it for Week 8. Enjoy another exciting weekend of football in the Big 12, and we'll see you next week.